Hey, I'm John Satram.
And I'm Nick Breeze.
And we run an event series called Dream, or Data Rules Everything Around Me, presented by Mozilla in partnership with Netizen.
We typically think of technology as tools, but it's also helpful to think of them as environments.
Right, take the internet for example. Sure, we use it, but we also live online.
Yeah, and one very literal example of that is the electromagnetic spectrum, which has always invisibly existed all around us, but today is full of data as we use it for all of our wireless communications.
We recently went on a Wi-Fi data safari with Brandon Dorsey, where he showed us how to sniff out the packets and probes floating around us in the air. As an artist and hacker, he's been researching the wireless spectrum and developing artworks and projects that make the invisible visible.
Because once we can see it and understand a little better how it works, we can ask questions like, who does it work that way for? And am I okay with this? Two questions which often come up in Brandon's work.
For a long time, technology has created this building of abstractions on top of each other that are actually really useful. But the higher that stack grows, the more separated we are from actually understanding the tools that we're using. We understand it less, but we participate in it more. A lot of the work that I've done is kind of targeting to digging a few layers back and sort of misusing technologies that are ubiquitous in ways that people don't expect them to be used. Probably people don't even know that they can be used that way. A couple of years ago, I was using this piece of technology called a software-defined radio. Some brilliant hackers misused a TV tuner. It gives you access to a huge swath of the electromagnetic spectrum that we use for communication. Imagine the FM dial goes way further left and way further right than maybe your car's does. It sort of allows you to tune in frequencies for shipping or for airplanes, and then just be able to listen to gigahertz of infrastructure. So I had one of these and I was sort of scanning around frequencies, and I stumbled upon pager messages from hospitals. Oftentimes there would be first name, last name, date of birth, diagnosis, incredibly sensitive information broadcast in the clear text for anyone to pick up if they knew how. The way that I've found certain vulnerabilities, or the way that I've sort of engaged with a security-based research practice, is that we're focused too much on using things correctly that we forget that all of these things can be used correctly a couple of ways, but they can be used incorrectly a lot of ways, a lot more ways. A medium that I find myself returning to a lot is electromagnetic spectrum. It's how we communicate. It's radio, it's Wi-Fi, it's cellular, and there's a lot of preferential treatment to giving more space for communication to governments and to corporations, but there's little bits scattered around that are sort of available for more public use. In the United States, that's sort of allocated by the FCC. Yeah, I'm actually pretty anti-FCC in a lot of ways. I like the idea of it. I don't like the implementation of it. Everything is really highly regulated, which in some ways is good because it is a shared resource. You have to make sure that your communication isn't impairing someone else's communication. So I think those are the ways that the FCC actually does a really good job, but it's incredibly restrictive. Even amateur radio, there's tons of stuff you can't do. In fact, there's way more stuff you can't do than you can do. So that's actually one of the reasons I made Chatterbox. Certain types of communications are illegal on the amateur radio spectrum. Specifically, encryption is illegal. There's no provable way over amateur radio frequencies to sort of verify that I'm communicating with the person I think that I am. Chatterbox allows you to use cryptographic message signatures to prove sender verifiability without sort of breaking the law of using encryption. It was kind of like a you. It was I'll play by your rules, but I'm really doing something that I don't think you intended. The invisibility of radio makes it easily exploitable for mechanisms of control. Electromagnetic spectrum are auctioned to highest bidders, so it's sort of like a corporate paradise in a way. It's really difficult as a small organization, especially as an individual. It's nearly impossible to get a bit of spectrum that you can use in whatever way you want. I think it's important for people just to learn about these things and then make their own decisions about how they want to engage with this tech. It's harder to fight for a commons that you don't know is there and that you can't see.